What makes someone the most dangerous woman in the world? Not guns, not armies, but perception. That's how Mata Hari, a failed housewife from the Netherlands, turned herself into a legend. She became a symbol of power, mystery, and seduction. And it was the same image that would ultimately destroy her. Her real name was Margaretha Zelle. Born in the Netherlands in 1876, she grew up in comfort until her father went bankrupt and abandoned the family. Her mother died soon after. By 18, she was alone, vulnerable, and desperate to escape. She married a Dutch officer twice her age, hoping for stability. Instead, she found abuse, betrayal, and heartbreak. After their marriage collapsed, and after the tragic death of one of her children, she fled, leaving behind her past and her name. Paris became her escape. At first, she tried modeling, then posing for artists, even working with horses in circuses, anything to survive. But she realized something. Men weren't captivated by her skills. They were captivated by her beauty, her presence, the way she carried herself. So she leaned into it. She began performing small dances in salons, adding silk veils, telling stories of sacred temple rituals she claimed to have learned in the East. None of it was true. But it didn't matter. Audiences didn't care about truth, they cared about the image. And in 1905, she reinvented herself completely. She became Mata Hari, Eye of the Day in Malay, no longer Margaretha, the abandoned girl. Now she was an enchantress, exotic, mysterious, dangerous. And Paris believed her. Soon generals, diplomats, and princes were competing for her attention. She dined with the rich, danced for kings, and became the mistress of men who held Europe's future in their hands. Why her? Why Mata Hari? It wasn't just her beauty. Paris was full of beautiful women. It was the way she carried herself. She spoke with absolute confidence, never explaining too much, always leaving mystery. She told men she had studied sacred temple rituals in the East, that every veil she dropped was not performance, but prayer. When they questioned her past, she whispered, "In the East, women hold power not with swords, but with mystery." And it worked because of timing. Europe was obsessed with the exotic, with the mystique of the Orient. Few had traveled there, so they couldn't tell truth from illusion. She gave them what they craved, a fantasy, carefully staged, and they chose to believe it. In their eyes, Mata Hari wasn't just a dancer. She was a goddess who could intoxicate even the most disciplined man. But illusions don't last forever. When World War I erupted, Mata Hari's spell began to look dangerous. And as the war dragged on, things weren't going well for France. Defeats piled up, morale collapsed. The government needed someone to blame. She wasn't just with French generals. She wasn't just with German officers. She was with men in positions of power on both sides of the war. Generals, diplomats, even a Russian ally. In peacetime, that made her glamorous. In wartime, it made her terrifying. And so, when France looked for a scapegoat, Mata Hari was perfect. The French government branded her the most dangerous woman in the world. Not because of what she had done, but because they believed she was a spy. In their eyes, Mata Hari wasn't just a dancer anymore. She was a woman who had charmed generals, diplomats, and officers from both sides of the war. If she truly passed secrets, she could tip the balance of the battlefield. She was arrested, paraded through a trial built on rumor and fear, and condemned to death. In 1917, she was led before a firing squad. Offered a blindfold, she refused. Instead, Mata Hari stood tall, staring directly into the eyes of her executioners as the rifles were raised, calm, unbroken. The goddess she had created was gone. For years, she bent perception to her will, turning mystery into power, illusion into influence. But perception is fragile. The moment she lost control, when others saw not an enchantress but a spy, it consumed her. The image that once lifted her into legend became the weapon that destroyed her. Perception is power. Control it, or it will control you.